Well, good morning. It's 7 a.m. and we're out this morning in the Arkansas area on the Pigeon Roost Trail just outside of Rogers, Arkansas. So far, the weather's supposed to be great this morning. There's a chance of rain overnight. This is a pretty short trail, about 8 miles long, but there's like 5 primitive campsites on it, and we're going to make our way to that one of the campsites and get set up. Got some cooking to do. We're just going to relax and enjoy the day and head back to Kansas City tomorrow. We're going to take a left here. It's the way the tree's been around for a long time. I'm told that's the way the natives marked the trail back in the day. It's pretty nice. Last night got down to about 40, but we're supposed to have a high of 72 today. So I imagine I'll be shedding some layers here pretty soon. Here we go. Well, not even into a full mile yet, but it's already warming up, and I've already had to stop and shed a layer, get it stuffed into my backpack here. Now we'll get back on the trail. The nice thing about this trail is that the folks here in Arkansas keep it in really good shape. What I've seen so far. It's about 3.5 hours from where I live in the Kansas City area. So you got some hills. It's right off Beavers Lake. And you can start to see some of the dogwood trees start to bloom. So it's March 28th, I believe. And it's in pretty good shape. There's firewood all over the place. Whoa! Almost took a tumble there. But 72 today. Yesterday was the first day we've had sit in the 70s since October of last year, 2018. So I'm excited to be out in some semi-warm temperatures. The last couple of camping trips that I've had here so far for 2019 have been in snow and ice and 12-degree weather. So it really gave me a chance to test out some of my gear. I've got with me today my new Osprey Atmos AG backpack, and I really am enjoying this so far. Compared to my previous backpack, this thing is sitting nice and easy on my back. I mean, I feel the weight, and I'm still learning, so I'm still trying to figure out what to pack. And I still have some cheap gear that weighs a little bit heavier than the ultralight gear or lightweight gear. So 2019 and hopefully, and probably on into 2020, I'll be doing some gear upgrade. Trying to lighten the pack, put in more miles, or get to where I can put in more miles. But I am enjoying this day so far. I've got a beautiful sunrise coming up over here. I'll show you this. There's some clouds up in the sky over there, but hopefully they'll burn off and go away. Some more dogwood trees. Anyway, more to come. The Short Woodland Natural Landscape Project Control Site. So I've been seeing this. This is a hill that goes straight up. And I saw another sign back earlier. I don't know if this does it any justice on the camera or not, but it looks like they're trying to landscape that in a way. I guess it doesn't erode or slide. Pretty cool. Well, the sun is coming over the hill now. We're coming around the lake access. We got a couple of benches over here. So we're just gonna sit out here and watch the beautiful view of the lake. All right, looks like we got a trail intersection here. And shows a direction for going the way I came, and I can go straight or I can go through here. And I believe this is the direction I want to go. That takes me lakeside where the campsites are. This trail's not that hard to follow. I say that now, I'm gonna get down here and probably get lost, but and I mean, it's not that rocky either. There's pine needles all over the floor here that make it really kind of soft, not as hard on your feet. Anyway, the weather is still absolutely gorgeous out here today. I'm just enjoying myself. About making it about 2 miles per hour. I really didn't think I was going that fast. I was just kind of taking my time, but we'll come back with more. So going along here, we've covered so far about 2.7 miles, and we've gone down a hill, up a hill. I think we went back down a hill a little bit. Now we're slowly going back up a hill. So, but the trail has been pretty easy to follow again. Like I said before, I haven't really had any difficult following the trail. They say it's a moderate trail on the app I use is All Trails, and I think that's what it even says on the website for Pigeon Roost. They've got it well marked. You can see there's another white marker. And there is some phone service out here. Sometimes when I get down in the lower part, it seems to go away. But I'm back up on top of this hill, and I still have plenty of cell signal. So I'll be able to communicate back home and let them know I'm okay. Now I've heard them talk about sinkholes on this trail, and that there's some big ones and there's some small ones, and I'm not sure if that is what this is or not, but that's a complete drop off. And the camera's not going to do it justice. This thing is probably about, I'm going to guess, 50 foot wide, probably about 20, 30 foot deep. It's big. It's big. I'm going to move away now. Yep, move away. Just a few more feet, and here's another one. It's not as big as the other. It's probably every bit as deep, and it's probably about 20 foot across. Just kerplunk, trees and all. See, I've made it to the point here at Pigeon Roost. And I see my first blue blaze. It said blue blazes were where the campsites were. It takes you lakeside. And I'm walking down here. That's, the water is just a beautiful, clear blue water. Matter of fact, looks like it goes pretty deep. I just wanted to come down here and take a look at this. I don't know, can you see that huge tree? You can just see the bottom of it. I mean, going right into the water. Just absolutely gorgeous. These are the tent pads that they have here at the campground, and they are pretty small. Some of them are smaller than others. For example, this one right here looks like it's about a 5x5. I mean, you need a pretty small tent, but there's plenty of trees out here to hang a hammock, and then they have these fire pits. This is campground 4 and 5, so I'm going to go see what 3 looks like. Right now what we got to go do is get some water because after washing dishes and cooking and rehydrating, I'm out of water. So going back down to the lake, I've got my water bottles in my backpack and my filtration system. We're going to go filter some water. And it's not that too far back down here. I took the boots off and I got my Crocs on. So we'll see how that works out. I almost tore the package up before I could show this, but now I'm going to try this RX bar. It's 12 grams of protein. It's got 3 egg whites, 6 almonds, 4 cashews, 2 dates, and it is no BS. Thank goodness. All right, mango pineapple flavor. There hadn't been waves all day until that boat came through. But they were out there fishing. I guess they either caught their limit or didn't have any luck. I've been watching them just sit here and filter water. So I've got my Knock dirty bag tied up to my Sawyer Mini. And then I found a place I could tie it up to a tree. And then been filling my bottles that way. It just allows me, it's kind of hands-free. I've just been sitting here relaxing. It's kind of cool. Letting gravity do the work for me. Yep. Okay, filled up on water. It's time to head back to camp. I've got to change the batteries in my headlamp when I was getting ready this morning. It died. So I need to make sure I've got that ready. Got water for dinner. Got water for getting out of here tomorrow morning. And got water for the road. So we're set, ready to go. some dryer lint, just plain dryer lint right out of the dryer. Just kind of balling it up. Some more dryer lint. This one's dipped in wax. And this one just needs a little more fire to get it going. But once it gets going, it takes off pretty good and it gets your wood going. Let me show you some magnesium. Onto it, and then I'm going to strike it. There we go. Starting with the littlest. Feeding that in there. The wind's going to help out. Matter of fact, I got to make sure I don't get it too out of control with this wind. Ooh, looks like I got extras in my oatmeal. I don't know how leaves got in my oatmeal bag, but they did. It's about 10:23. Had a great night's rest last night. Thought it was going to rain. The only thing that dropped in on us was some raccoons, or dropped in on me with some raccoons. But as soon as I took my spotlight, my little Bolt or Vaunt flashlight in the spotlight setting, they dashed off. Got up, that was about 10 o'clock, ate some lasagna because I was hungry, and went back to bed and just woke up at about 6 o'clock, and then went back to bed, woke up at about 9, and then got up and started tidying up around camp. Cooked some oatmeal, made some coffee. We're going to get packed up and get out of here. I think it will be raining on us. Well, raining on me on my way back to Kansas City. It's interesting because I kept thinking it was, I mean, the forecast had a chance for 80% chance of rain for today. Well, that apparently changed, but the storms moved north of us. And sitting here, last night I was watching the fire, and it faces off to the north, and I was uncertain as far as my direction, so I got my compass out and noticed that was the north, and looked at the radar, and Joplin was getting like massive thunderstorms, and it was amazing. It looked how close it looked, you know, to where I'm at here in Pigeon Roost, but it was such a vivid scene of lightning going on last night, and you could see that just over the hill
what looked like, was within, at least a couple of miles, but the reality of it, it's several miles north of us. It just goes to show you how strong of a storm that was, I guess, and how high that lightning was coming from out of the cloud. The other great thing I like about this trail is that in it's March, the end of March, there are a lot of spiders out here, because at night when you walk around with your headlamp, you see their little eyes. I mean, they light up, and so you see them all around. But walking the trail, I guess they haven't got out on the trail yet to make their webs. So I had very few spider webs coming into this trail yesterday, or just walking around, hiking around in this little area around Campground 5 where I'm at. I saw no snakes, none. I'm sure they're out here, but me and snakes have an agreement. They go their way, I go my way, and we leave each other alone. But I haven't seen any snakes. Saw some raccoons, saw tons of deer. The deer is, there's a very good population of deer out here. Didn't see any coyotes, but could hear them. They sang to me a big part of the night, but they were far off in the distance, so I didn't worry about them at all. And then so far what I've seen of the trail is that, it's well kept, it's easy to navigate. I haven't had any problems. Water, you've got a big lake for water resource. I saw some streams along the way coming in, and I can't tell you if I came in backwards or if I came in the right way. I've seen people going both ways. But the weather has been awesome. We had some sunshine yesterday. It got up, according to my temperature gauge on my watch, and I took it off to make sure that it wasn't picking up my body heat. But it got up to about 72 yesterday. I mean, in this campground, of course, there's no leaves on the trees or anything. I mean, I had direct access to sunlight coming through. It was wonderful. It's the first direct access to sunlight I think I've had since October, maybe September. And then it'll cloud up a little bit, and then the sun will come back out. That played along all day yesterday, which was great. And it was, not hot, but you weren't cold. I mean, when I first started out, it was cool. It was 7 a.m. yesterday morning, and it was cool. But it warmed up really quick, and then getting out on the trail less than a mile, I had to start taking off layers. And I came prepared for anything. I mean, I've got my DIY Costco Down Underquilt that I did hung up here, and I also brought my Thermal Rest Z-Lite. I actually had this on. I actually had to get up and take that off. I was sweating, and I started to take off a layer. If you remember from previous videos, this thing has layers built into it, and they snap in and out. I had already taken a layer out, thinking I wasn't going to need all 3 layers. I mean, that gets me down to, well, I've had it down to 12 degrees, and I was toasty. So I started to pop this other layer out. I mean, it got down, the coldest last night was like 42.8, according to, again, my temperature gauge on my watch. So I really didn't need any more than that. I had my chill gorilla over. I had it tucked or about medium. I probably could have gone a little bit higher. In reality, knowing now that we had no rain coming this way, I would have left it off last night, because when I got up at 6 o'clock this morning, you had a beautiful view of the stars, and with no leaves on the trees, I mean, it was very vivid. It was very bright, so it's pretty cool. to see all those stars out there and just to be out here with nature, hanging between some trees, gazing up at the stars. I came out here and sat in my little chair for just a little bit, and my eyes started shutting again, so I went back to bed. All right, almost done with this oatmeal. Coffee's almost gone. Going to drink me some water, get this stuff packed up, and we'll be back on the trail. So I can't talk enough about this Costco Down Underquilt that I found out from, I think it's Sargevining YouTube's channel. And he's done several different types, but this is my favorite one because well, it's the one that made sense to me. So you've got, and I just coated this with a seal nylon on the outside, and then built these channels here. I've got my shock cord running through those channels, and then I've got shock cord running through here so I can cinch it up tight around the head and the foot of the hammock. But then you'll notice I've got these layers here, and I wasn't perfect at it. Like I cut one piece wrong, so I went in and added the piece back on together. I'm not saying that there's any superior sewing techniques here. I've never have sewn that much in my life. So this is a moderate challenge, I would say. But I built 3 layers. I've only used 2 this weekend, and really I only needed 1. It got down to 42. 1 would have been plenty. That with my body the body source. This is a synthetic, and it was a sleeping bag, and basically what I did is I cut the zipper out and made it into like a top quilt, and it packs down pretty nice. But I think what I'm going to do is use my Costco Costco Down quilt as a top quilt too, because I mean, I was sweaty really last night. I mean, I kicked my feet out from the foot box in this thing several times last night because I was too warm, thanks to this. So pretty cool. These were very inexpensive on Amazon. I think I paid $20 for it, and I highly recommend it for a synthetic sleeping bag. This thing works well. It came as a mummy bag, and I just converted it over into a top quilt. And then, you know, here in the South, maybe all you need is, is a couple of these. This year we've had temperatures down into the 12 degrees. Actually, we had some lower. I just wasn't out those nights, but I've been in this thing 12 degrees. Now the wind chill was much colder than that because we had high winds going on, and I was toasty all night. So slept in some layers and had this, obviously, and I've been in it in a tent. I've been in it in a obviously in my hammock, but in my hammock with this setup, I slept very nicely. So highly recommend it. Sargevining, you can Google him on YouTube, and you'll find all kinds of videos where he's done these things and tested them. Then another thing I'm pretty excited about was this bag for my Costco Down Underquilt. This was my first attempt at a round bottom, and I picked this up from, I think it's Jelly Roll. I first found her when I was looking at maybe making my own tarp and how to sew with the thinner materials, and but she has a tutorial series on how she makes a variety of different bags. And this one has a round bottom, but I designed this to fit all 3 of those Costco Down Underquilts. And when I have all 3 of them in here, maybe it's a little heavy the way I built it with the sealed nylon But this thing weighs about 3 pounds. I could still compress this even more, but I got plenty of room up here in the top. And on this trip, what I did was I basically took now my hammock and suspension and I put it in here, and it all wraps up into this one bag. So if you're looking to build some of these bags, check out Jelly Roll, and I'll have a description at the bottom for you on that. Pretty cool. So there you go, all packed up, fire is out, it's getting dark, and it's not even noon, so cloudy, nice overcast. We're packed up, hit the trail. We got about 4.5 miles to go, and we should be back at the car. Well, I may not be videotaping much of this on the exit. We're about 4.5 miles from the trailhead, our car, and it just unleashed. It's pouring down, but my pack is geared up, or my pack is protected by my rain cover. I've got my raincoat on. Oh, buddy, you hear that lightning? I mean, that thunder. So, maybe we'll film some more, but I'm gonna put the camera away for right now. See you in a bit. But it's still nice and cool. Hey, I was just thinking, this morning when I was packing my bag, I have some rainproof gaiters, and I decided not to wear them today because I thought it was going to be a sunny day like it was early when I got up. So the one day that I'm not wearing gaiters, it rains. Pretty ironic. If I had worn them, we wouldn't have any rain, that's for sure. More to come. Well, it's still raining. Apologize for the screen, but I've just been 2 miles in 40 minutes. That's the first ever for me, and it's still raining, pouring down. It's amazing as lightning is crackling and I hear the thunder. It's amazing what adrenaline will do for you. I think maybe it's that, maybe it's I had a great night's rest last night, maybe I ate well. Could be my pack is a lot lighter because I ate all my food on this trip. I planned the food out better. So, but I am just, and maybe it's the trail, I mean, there's some ups and downs in this, you know, some elevation gain of about 400 to 500 feet. And there's some drops, but I'm just surprised how fast I'm going along on this. And every time I hear that lightning strike, I get a little more oomph in my step, you know what I mean? Anyway, still pouring down out here. Get the trailhead back in my car. Got a change of clothes. I'll get dry, grab me some water, and get headed back to my 3.5 hour drive home. Hopefully the storms won't be too bad. I had to stop and get a little bit, get some water in my breath. That's 2.5 miles in 50 minutes.
that's a record for me. It's still raining, and I've got less than a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile left. I've seen some beautiful things. You know, it's, with the rain coming down, I see dogwood trees out here. I mean, all the colors aren't changing. It's still late March. We've had a late winter. I know in Kansas we have, and I assume that they've had a later winter here in Arkansas just as well. But I bet here in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see more plants blooming, trees turning green. It's going to be incredible. It's been a great 2 days. Tested out my new Osprey backpack. Absolutely love the Atmos AG. It's a birthday present from my darling wife. And by the way, happy anniversary today, hon. She's going to our niece's shower. So speaking of showers, it's still raining. So her and her sister are on a road trip this weekend. I got to go back to work tomorrow. And so it's been a great 2 days off. I'm gonna get myself back up to the trailhead and get in my car, get some dry clothes on there in the bathroom stall. I got a privy up there at the trailhead. Nothing fancy, but nothing too nasty either. So pretty nice trailhead here at Pigeon Roost. I highly recommend this trail, especially if you're a beginner and you're afraid about being out without, you know, cellular connectivity. I have Sprint, and I'm sure that all the others are out here too, Verizon and what's. But I've had great coverage almost the entire trail. It's only 8 miles, maybe 8.5. I'll double check that, but it's not a, you know, it's not a long trail, but you got some nice hills and some nice flats areas too. So if you're, you know, beginning backpacking and you're afraid about being without cell coverage, this would be a great trail to try that out on. You know, make it an overnighter. There's 5 primitive campsites. So, you know, bring a light source, a headlamp or something like that. You can bring a tent, or I did the hammock thing. Either way, great time out here at Pigeon Roost. See you back at the trailhead. And here we are. We're back to the trailhead. There's our car. And there's always something so happy about seeing your car when you get back. So again, this has been a wonderful time. The rain has stopped, and we're gonna go over there to the porta potty. It's a nice porta potty. Get our dry clothes on, and get on the road. It was a great time.